Hello, my name is O.R. Frazier, and the following is a continuation of another story I've done called A Blue Vacation. If you haven't read or listened to that story yet, I recommend you check it out before listening to this one. After this story, stay tuned for an awesome announcement, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this tale that I call Dead or Alive. Being trapped in a crippled vessel orbiting Neptune for over a week, I've had plenty of time to think about my life. My time inside this barely functioning, headless ship hasn't been the worst situation I've ever been in, yet maybe it's the gaze of the baleful blue giant outside my window that's filling me with self-reflection. What else is there to do anyways? The beacon is active, the crew is, well, absent. It's been one hell of a trip since leaving Mars. When I was a kid, I lived in a small settlement with my grandfather and younger brother in a region known as Arabia Terra, near the northern lowlands. It was a stable region, far from the larger canyon cities and the insane politicians, which is why grandfather and many others had settled out there. Back then, our community was nothing more than a string of small, dusty domes springing out of the ground like small white pox bumps, connected by poorly lit underground tunnels. My brother Zach and I loved to play down there, coming up with the craziest games while dashing in and out of the shadowy corridors. One of us would be an alien monster from Grandpa's old Earth movies, while the other would be the hero who fought the monstrous creature. We had loads of fun, but one day it went too far. Excited to be the hero, and too dim to realize the danger, I snuck into Grandpa's closet and stole his old Martian standard handheld. Now I had a real gun. Down in the tunnels, when Zach popped around a shadowy corner and roared like a monster, I pulled the pistol from my shirt and shouted an Earth movie saying, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me." The pistol, large in my kid-sized hands, popped off, shooting a superheated iron bullet which flew by Zach's face and hit the wall, piercing right through the thin, cheap material. Immediately, the hallway began depressurizing before we could react to the gunfire. Zach fell to the floor as alarms sounded off at the ends of the hall, signaling the doors beginning to shut. This is where I learned that actions have consequences. We had no idea the ceiling doors were as cheaply made as the walls. How could we? Air pressure and temperature were dropping fast. Trembling, I dropped the pistol and rushed to help Zach up. Gasping for air, we ran towards the closing vertical door towards our end of the hall. I couldn't see Zach through the stinging tears in my eyes, but felt my grip around his arm. I had to drag us forward. There was no time. If the door had been working like it should, then we'd both be buried out there behind that dome right now. The thick, grayish door had squealed to a halt less than a meter from the floor, and air was rushing out from the large storage room on the other side. Gears within squealed as they tried to correct their mistake. I threw Zach on the ground, pushing him through the opening first. The air was now dangerously thin. I fell to the floor coughing, so disoriented I thought I was going to puke. I started crawling through the opening. I was nearly through when I heard a small clicking sound, and the door came slamming down. The beacon began beeping, pulling me away from my memories and to the present. Leaving my view of Neptune through the small window, I returned to the crippled ship's engine room to investigate. Good. My rescuers were lining up with the ship's stern. According to the one working sensor, they turned to their starboard and started the docking procedures. I patted my chest, finding the small badges I'd acquired from the late captain. I could pass as him long enough to avoid unwanted attention and disappear again. I went to the crew's lockers, finding the pistol one of them had stashed away. It was a nice Space Colt 7, sleek, black, and the size of a classic Earth weapon. It fired flash-heated bullets at half the heating rate and double the accuracy of an old Martian standard. How did any of the crew afford this thing? Unfortunately, I only had one bullet. Placing the pistol in its holster, I attached it to the belt of my dull yellow suit and prayed I wouldn't have to use it. The dying ship groaned as my saviors locked onto the outside. That was my cue to head towards the depressurization room and unlock the safety hatch. Slowly, the door opened and two men in red and gold suits came inside. Military. From the markings, they were an outer regiment. A two-man patrol team. Looks like you had a bit of trouble here, Captain, said the larger one, expecting my badges. What happened? It's all a blur still. I was checking the engines when the front of the ship was torn off. None of my crew made it. We're sorry to hear that, sir. Do you have any gear? Yes. I attached a helmet from the wall to my suit, which pressurized into place with a snap as its HUD came online. You can head over to our ship while we download crew logs and data from your vessel. Sure. Thank you. They headed past me directly towards the engine room. I had no time to waste. Calmly, I made my way across a narrow tunnel that had extended from their vessel. I gripped the thin handles, propelling myself towards freedom, a meter at a time. All I had to do now was retract their tunnel and seal them from their ship, and I was home free. Do you need a medic, sir? My face turned pale as another suited soldier greeted me on the other side. Why was there 3? There's never 3 of those marks. I had mere seconds before the others discovered my identity. Without another thought, I positioned myself between him and the tunnel and kicked his knee with my left leg, snapping his tibia like a twig. Screaming, he lost balance as the sudden trauma sent him into shock. Stop! Shouted one of the soldiers from across the tunnel, weapon already aimed at me. The other one was quickly closing the distance between us. Quickly, I lifted their unconscious partner with a single hand, holding him with ease in a low gravity, and held my pistol to his head. No closer! The soldier with the gun hesitated, and I took my chance. Throwing the comatose man at the soldier flying through the tunnel, I knocked him off balance and bashed the control panel to my side with the hilt of the gun, crushing it. Their ship's onboard systems immediately went to alert and began sealing the hatch, but not before the soldier at the broken vessel managed to get a shot off. A white-hot bullet lodged itself into my leg just before the hatch was sealed. Ignoring the crackling, sizzling sound, I crammed myself into the small cockpit and set the ship to full thrust away from Neptune, ripping the extendable tunnel from the hull. My shin was ruined. There was only one person I'd trust to repair my prosthetic, and they were half a solar system away. It was time to head back home. And that concludes this part 2 of A Blue Vacation. So, you guys like it? I definitely love recording this and writing this. This little serialized series I got going on here is pretty fun. I've been writing them to help ease myself into writing science fiction, because I do plan to write like a large novel based in the science fiction world, similar to this one, if not the same one. So I'm hoping that it'll turn out great, because I always love character studies, I love dialogue, and I love world building. It's really fun. It's one of the reasons I love to write stories. There's so many reasons I love writing fantasy stories, and I'm hoping I can take that love over to science fiction as well. Oh, and the announcement I was going to make. This is a pretty cool one. A Blue Vacation has been picked up to be put in the anthology of the Appalachian Authors Guild. That's awesome! I can't wait to start selling those books at conventions along with my own. And I can't wait for more people to get their hands on my stories. That's what excites me the most. To share these stories I love to write and imagine with other people and see their reactions. Be it good, be it bad, as long as it's fair criticism. Constructive criticism, I should say. I enjoy it. So, hopefully you like the video. Like and subscribe and all that good jazz. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.